Now that this hat band is joined in the round, I'm ready to start knitting up stitches. And the plan is to use the selvage stitches to show us exactly where to knit up the stitches. So I'm leaving a tail of my new yarn, and in this case on this hat I'm using a smaller size needle for the remainder of the project. And all you do to knit up a stitch is put the needle where you would like the new stitch to be, throw the yarn around it and draw it through that position. So you put the needle in where you want the stitch to appear, throw the yarn around the needle and bring it through the hole. You can knit up stitches into any hole at all, including regular fabric. So you could put knitted sleeves in a jean jacket if you punch some holes to begin with. And I'm aiming here for 2 stitches per stripe and letting the selvage stitches guide me. If you accidentally forgot to slip your stitch, just make sure you only put 2 stitches per stripe. I prefer to call this knitting up stitches, as it really is just like knitting. The term pick up and knit I find very confusing, and as a newer knitter I literally picked up bits of the knitting like this and then went back and knitted, and it was not a very elegant process, whereas this gives you precise control over the positioning of the stitches, and they are the same tension as all the rest of your stitches. If this were a neckband or some other area where I wanted to put the stitches along the edge, I'm not worried about that loose baggy stitch there. There was one tail I forgot to weave in, so I'll tighten that up when I weave that tail in. But if this were along the edge of a neck, I would plan to have a selvage stitch up the edge, not necessarily a slipped selvage stitch, that's because this is garter stitch, but I leave 1 column of stitches all the way up the side of the neck or area where I want to put the band, and then I can knit between the outside stitch and the main body of the garment, so my shapings would appear in the garment side, leaving me a plain column of stitches along which to knit up. I've knitted up stitches all the way around the edge of the hat, and I have 2 more stitches to make. 2. Now I need to change direction of working. So what I'm going to do is slip my first stitch, which is still a bit loose because I haven't darned in my end yet. But I've slipped the first stitch that I knitted up purlwise, take the yarn between the needles and return that borrowed stitch. Now I can turn the work around and begin knitting in the round. So this is now going to be the public side of the hat, and my brim will later fold up like this, so you'll see the public side of the brim. Although you can purl up stitches with the wrong side facing, it's easier to knit them up and then do a turn. Later on I'll come back and neaten this yarn tail.